like I didn't care. And I wanted it so bad. Like I just wanted to make something good that people would play, and these YouTubers I would watch, like I wanted them to be like, damn, like that's pretty cool, and he never gave up. So I just kept going and going over and over again. That I tried making it so many times and it would just keep failing in the beginning stages.
Yeah.
I'm a Christian, and because of that, there's certain things that I just don't agree with. Like I understand that some people were offended, but I feel like it was a very blown out of context situation.
Welcome back, or welcome to the Leaders Talk Podcast, where I'm your host, Jacob Pino. I'm going to interview leaders from every industry, from CEOs to athletes to coaches to pastors to influencers to creators, so I could uncover their stories, so you could take a piece of everybody's success and apply it to your own. So if that sounds like something you like, feel free to subscribe and enjoy the rest of the video. But I got a special guest today. I got the creator of Grizzlies VR, a viral game. Well, we're going to get into that, why now you ended the game, right?
Oh, yeah.
But we're going to get more into that and the juiciness of the whole process. But it's my honor to interview Lester Tellez. Quick facts about Lester to really give you a picture. Like he said, 18 years old. You're 18 years old right now. You started making games, creating games when you were 12.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You had to create 30 before you came up with Grizzly.
Right.
30 video games before you could come up with Grizzlies. That shows the dedication, but we're gonna get more into that. Recently got canceled. I don't know if that's a like an award, but you got it. Yeah. You got the award. And like you said, you're going to the University of Central Florida to major in computer science.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I want to start off from the beginning. What was your childhood like?
My childhood in the beginning, you know, was pretty, it was something, because I was actually diagnosed with autism when I was about 2. So my childhood in the beginning was pretty rough. Like it wasn't so like nice, not a lot of friends, but I had my family, I had my mom, I had my dad, I had my brothers. And so now growing up, you know, I was in California with my mother, and then eventually like I left because I felt like I needed a bit of a change. So now I'm here with my dad and my stepmom, who's Darlene. And you know, I'm really grateful for them, and because they let me come. And it's been a lot better for me, to be honest. Like social life's improved, academic life improved quite tremendously. My motivation got a lot better. Even though I moved young, I knew it was going to be the right decision for me. So, and my mom let me come here. Like, it was like her decision.
So your mom is still in California?
Yes, my mom's still in California, yeah.
And so do you think that when were you diagnosed with?
I was diagnosed with autism at about 2 years old.
2 years old?
Yeah, around there.
And did it affect you growing up, saying like, I have autism, like I'm not as good as other
It wasn't
people?
necessarily the fact that I had it, but it was more like the side effects of it, like how I interact with people socially and stuff like that. Like not a lot of friends. Again, I had one really good friend over there in California. She's like really cool. But yeah, so it definitely really affected my upbringing a little bit. I had a hard time with people, but I think like once I came to Miami, I think I kind of adjusted pretty well.
Yeah.
Because I'm considered like high functioning autism, so it's like it's a little
yeah. And actually, I was gonna ask you if there was any like childhood, not traumas, but bad situations that happened in your childhood that is like distinctive to saying like, damn, like if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Well, I feel like, yeah, there are some, I feel like sometimes the way I think about things and stuff like that, like kind of have to stem with a little bit of trauma. I think my mom's husband had a big part in that. Not really the best relationship. I'm not going to get into very specific details, but I think that did influence me in some way. I feel like it's been so long though that I've been able to overcome like 95% of it. So really my upbringing was mostly positive for the most part. Like it's 90% good and like 10% bad, to be honest.
No, I think that's what it is, because I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, all those like traumas and the bad situations that happen in your childhood, like as you go on, like you grow up, you say like, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. So, kind of moving forward, where did the idea of creating games start?
So the creating games part, you know, I was really into like Five Nights at Freddy's and stuff like that. And I saw like people making fan games, and I was like, damn, I really want to make one. So I started looking like on YouTube, and I saw the like coding engine called Scratch. And then from there, I kind of started learning that, made like about 5 games there or like maybe even a little bit more than that. I made a bunch of like little test ones, and then eventually in about 2016-ish, 2017, I joined a Discord server with another FNAF creator there, and then I got to talk to him. And then eventually it just kind of built up to where I am now. And that guy's actually canceled now too, by the way. He actually had a pretty serious situation. It was called people on Twitter will know what I'm talking about. It's called the Pair. So it's like it was three of them. It was the guy that I talked to and like two others. And basically they collected a bunch of like different info from games, and they would join people's teams, and they had everything in like a bunch of folders. And some of the games were those other fan games licensed by the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's. So those games were like under NDAs and everything. So if stuff had gotten out, they would have been in very serious legal trouble. According to them, they never planned on leaking anything, but they did have a lot of records on there and stuff like that. But you know, that happened like, I think it was like about a year ago, I think. Yeah, it's been like a year ago now since that happened. But that's like a little side note.
Yeah. And it seems like you're coming from a place of passion when you speak about these things. Where did that passion for creating games and like the gaming world, did it come from you like growing up playing games, or you just kind of grew the passion?
Well, it was kind of a combination of both. I mean, I grew up playing Mario Kart. I was always like, that's actually the one thing that I would do with my stepdad that I enjoyed was playing Mario Kart with him. Like we would play for like hours on end. I liked doing that. That was really cool. I played a lot of Smash Brothers. I was a big like Wii Nintendo kid growing up. I was a very big Nintendo kid growing up. And so that's really like, I had a love for video games at first, and then I really liked the Five Nights at Freddy's series, and I wanted to make an impact like on the community. So I was like, let me just get into this and see what happens. And it's very, very long and tedious process of trying over and over again.
And how old were you when you made that decision to start like, you wanted to change the community and build up?
Like I was like 13 when I started making the Scratch games. I was like 13, like 12, around there. I was like very young when I started in 5th grade.
And you self-taught yourself?
Yeah, like I would watch tutorials and stuff like that, but for the most part, I would kind of teach myself. I knew a couple of people. And Scratch, like you can look into the code and like look at it and then get it and like kind of do that as well. So it was like a combination of a lot of things, but I got good at it. And I dropped it for like a year, and then now I completely forgot how to use it. But but that's really important, guys. You know, in order to like, you have to stay consistent with something, because I got really good at it, and after a year of not using it, just because I moved on to doing 3D modeling, in a year I came back to it and I completely forgot how to use it. Like completely. Like, I completely forgot how to use it. So whatever you do, it's always really important to stay as consistent with it as possible, because if not, you're gonna forget.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Kind of talking how we talked off camera that you had to create 30 games before you came with Grizzlies VR.
It was around, because what happened was I had like the 5 to 7 games on Scratch, and then there was this one game, people on Twitter will know what I'm talking about. It's called Tom's Plague. So Tom's Plague was like this Five Nights at Freddy's fan game idea that I had. And the person who helped me create the characters and stuff actually helped create a really big one called Juniors. That one, like Moist Critical played that one and like everything. Like that was a really, really big one. And Markiplier played it too. Like that one was
the game that you made.
No, not the one that I made. The one that I'm talking about, the guy that was helping me a long time ago. That game got played by Markiplier, Moist Critical. Like a bunch of people played that one. It went really, really viral. But that game at the time, I was very young. I didn't know what I was doing, and I had a really good opportunity. Like if I had actually just let that guy direct the whole thing, like how he wanted to, I probably would have been successful at like 13. Like that would have blew up at 13, and then I just kind of dropped the ball, because I released a demo for the game, like my own program version, instead of releasing his, because I just wanted to do it my way. And then like they were all pissed that it was bad, and they all left. So, but I was like 13 when that happened. But
you're 13.
But it's really important, guys, to not rush things. Like just be patient with everything, because with that, like if I had been patient, obviously I was 13, so you know it's not like
you can beat yourself up. You learn. It's a lesson learned.
It's a lesson learned. But if I had been more patient, starting really, really young, it would have made a drastic difference. It would have sped up my progress a lot more than in the current timeline that obviously I'm in. But
so the lesson that you took from that is just to be a little bit more patient.
Yeah, be more patient. Yes.
And so the reason that I bring up the 30 games that you made, 30 years, you'll say, before Grizzlies VR, which went viral.
Yes.
Why didn't you quit after the other ones didn't go?
It's just kind of like this is the part where this is my advice to everybody out there and to you as well. Don't ever get really consumed in something. Don't let it take over you, because for me it was just like eating or breathing. Like I didn't care, and I wanted it so bad. Like I just wanted to make something good that people would play, and these YouTubers I would watch, like I wanted them to be like, damn, like that's pretty cool, and he never gave up. So I just kept going and going over and over again. The majority of the games was the Tom's game that I tried making it so many times, and it would just keep failing in the beginning stages and whatever, and like it was just
And so what'd you learn from that? Like not giving up? Like what'd you...
That was really, just not giving up. There was even at one point where one iteration of the game was actually taking off a little bit. We were like actually like about 25% done with it. And then what happened was I was on video call, and there was an animator and I was doing animation. So I was doing like older version animation. She was doing the new ones. But it's like Finance at Freddy's 4 where you have to run to the doors and there's like a bunch of different animations. So in my head, I lost track of like who did what. So we were in a call, and then I said something like, oh man, we need, like that needs to be fixed or whatever. And then somebody in the call who had just joined the team was like, oh man, that animation sucks. Right? And for some reason, it was like, oh, we have to get that replaced or something like that. I don't know. And the other person had actually made that animation, but I thought it was mine. Like, there's so many animations to keep track of, and we were in the process of replacing them that I literally, like, I just forgot. So, like, half the team left because they were all pissed, and, like, a bunch of people turned their backs. It was, like, really annoying, and it was just a big misunderstanding. But that happened in, like, 2020. And then it was kind of, like, here and there. Like, I tried it, started... And then, so then in 2019, Devious Minds came out, which is like an older version of Grizzlies. Like that one didn't really pick up that much traction. Like the demo did actually. Like the demo version got played by Daco, it got played by Fusion Z Gamer. So if I had kept that version and released it like 3 months later or 2 months later, it would have actually probably done well. But because we had released a demo in March of 2019 and the game came out on Christmas, so too much time had already elapsed from then. So it wasn't really like it wasn't good. So then from there I tried working on that one, and that whole thing happened, and then I was kind of trying to work on a different version of Devious Minds. And then again I ended up getting into some relationship, and that took up a lot of energy out of me.
A relationship,
like a girlfriend. Like a girlfriend, And then that took up a lot of energy out of me, and that was not good either. And so I feel like just don't get distracted with stupid things. Like if a person's gonna be in your life because they want to, that's fine. But like always, like this is to the guys out there, make sure that they put more effort in than you put in. Because there's a less of a risk. Like there's more of the reward risk ratio is a lot better than you putting in the effort and you're focusing on something pretty big. It's always important. Just try to stay as focused as you can. Of course, don't be like one of those Sigma types that's like, oh, like I'm only gonna do this and like that's it. Like don't be like that, but always try to balance things out, see who your real people are. And
did you learn with that that relationship and that working with other people during that time that you were in like the demo, and then someone was like, I don't like that model that you made, the 3D. Did that kind of teach you how to work with other people?
Well, yeah, that definitely over time, like I was able to work with, other people and stuff like that. That helped my skills a little bit. I think after 2021, it kind of clicked in my brain, like, okay, like I can't do X, Y, and Z. And I'm always a work in process. Like even now, like people were complaining, like when I got canceled on Twitter, people were complaining about how ineffective I was and how I would go ghost for months. Because I would get like grounded and I wouldn't be able to use it. But it's hilarious because they think I'm joking. Like they all say it like on like a whole thing is about me online about getting grounded. They think I'm joking, but I really wasn't joking. Like I would actually get grounded for like periods of time over like stuff like had to do with school or whatever. But at the end of the day, I graduated with a 5.0 guys, so there's no need to worry. But at the end of the day, just always try to like. There's always needs to be a work-life balance.
Of course.
Like everything has to be a balance. And then I'm gonna segue into something else like in a second, because this is where the work-life balance really has to come in. But then at the end of 2020, like I was in a relationship really demotivated, and then after it ended, I started working on the official models of Grizzlies that people know. Like I just sat down one day and I started making him, and it came out pretty decent. and somebody added the colors to him and it came out pretty good. And I was like, oh, okay, like that's good. And then I made the clown and I made the little rabbits. And then I made the other guy, like just the endoskeleton. And from there, I kind of just started putting the room together. Like, it was funny because the Grizzlies, like the one that came out in 2021, that game, I didn't really expect it. Like, that wasn't the one that I really thought was like, oh, this is going to be it. I was just kind of making it for fun. Like, I would make the rooms. I would, like, do stuff. Like, it wasn't necessarily like, oh, like, I gotta, like, how I always was just like, So sometimes the best things when it comes to success, they always come at times that you don't expect it.
Yeah.
So that's definitely, for sure, something really big.
And I'm going to do a halftime break.
Okay.
That I want to play a game. And I'm going to say one word.
Okay.
Or I'm going to say a phrase or sentence or one word, and you have to say what that makes you feel, like the first word that pops into your brain in one word.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
And then we're going to get into the juiciness. I know the things that you guys have been waiting for, the juiciness. I know exactly what you guys are thinking about. Oh, you're talking about this kid. I'll get to the cancellation. We'll get to that. Okay, so start it off. Five Nights at Freddy. You have to say one word.
Scary.
Scary? Faith.
Good.
Work ethic.
Constant.
I was thinking consistent. Great minds think alike. Family.
Together. That's the first word that came in my brain.
University.
Fun.
Politics.
Interesting.
Fresh and Fit podcast.
They're the best.
Oh, that was like, besides the Leaders Talk podcast, they're the best.
Yeah.
But, let's see. Coke.
No.
Pepsi.
Yes. Oh, what kind of Coke did you mean?
Coca-Cola.
Okay, yeah. Both to yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, bro. We'll move past this segment. I'm going to be more specific next time. The soda Coke. But, okay, we got a yes. Usually the most important question I ask is Coke or Pepsi. And you said no to Coke, so like, whatever. But move forward.
I prefer Pepsi over Coke.
Whatever, bro. I'm not going to argue with that one. But move forward. Okay. So now that we know the most important things about you, I want to get to the juiciness, right?
Uh-huh.
Cancellation. What was that about? Why did you get canceled?
Okay, so the reason why I got canceled was because I had said certain things that offended the LGBTQ community.
Do you mind going into specifics? Or?
I don't want to really get into specifics because people will twist up words and will like whatever. I don't want to get into it, but basically
generalized.
I offended the LGBT community. Honestly, should I have said that? Not really, but it was kind of in a chat where I thought I could kind of be more expressive. Like we were talking, like it wasn't like I was saying it in like, some like whatever. Like I thought like it was whatever, and I was really joking around. Like I wasn't even being serious. Looking back on it, I shouldn't have said it, but like at the end of the day,
you lesson learned.
Yeah, lesson learned. People make mistakes. It is what it is. And when it comes to like Twitter and stuff like that, no matter what you do, they'll always find something that will blow up in your face. Like whenever you do good, there has to be an equal and opposite reaction. There were certain people that were not happy that Grizzlies VR did well because it wasn't expected. Like everybody had been talking about because the thing is, Grizzlies won. The whole story is based on like government and stuff like that. So it was a really polarizing game. So everybody was like, oh, this is like a joke. Like all the people around me, like people making other games, they were like, oh, it's a joke. And then they saw the VR game was coming out and they were like, oh. And then they're like, I might get canceled. And then the game came out and then people played it and they were like, wait a minute. Like this guy actually did something.
Yeah.
And like people, like a lot of people who played it said it was like the scariest FNAF game of the year. It was honestly before Playtime with Percy, which is a game that just came out that apparently it's like really good. They had like a little unique style to it. Besides that one, this was basically the best FNAF game that had came out.
Yeah.
And to me, it felt really good to be able to, because I released Devious Minds, Grizzlies, and Grizzlies VR. I've released 3 games in the span of about 4 years. And before, I would always get trashed on for not releasing anything. And now I've released probably more than what those people have.
So when you don't do anything, they get on you, and when you do something, they get on. It's like you can never,
it's like,
you can never
you
satisfy.
can never satisfy them.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like cancellation and stuff like that, I just honestly feel like I'm a Christian, and because of that, there's certain things that I just don't agree with. Like, honestly, when it comes to the parades that happen in like these blue cities where like they're doing weird stuff in front of kids,
You'll support it.
I don't like that. Like, that's not cool. Regardless whether it's straight, gay, lesbian, regardless of any of that, like, it's not cool to be doing that. It just so happens to be 99% of the time, it happens to be a part of the LGBT community.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a problem with the people specifically. Like, I can get along with them. Actually, a lot of people on the team were either bi, a few of them were gay, and some of them had even told me, like, hey, Lester, like, look, I transitioned, and I respected it. Like, I would literally tell them, give me about a week, and I got it. Like, like, I was chill. Like, I wouldn't give people a hard time about it.
Yeah.
Like, no one was ever kicked off the team for that. So, again, I just feel like it was... Like, I understand that some people were offended, but I feel like it was a very blown out of context situation, because a lot of those people before have made, there's people in there that I'm sure have said something before in their past. And they had even dug something up that I had said when I was 13, which I'm not going to get into specifics again, because I don't even think they would even allow it on YouTube. But it's like, I had wanted to include a certain storyline into the game that was like really messed up. That I shouldn't have said that, but again, I was 13, like, I was stupid, and once like I realized it was wrong, like, I dropped it, and that was it. Like, literally the screenshots online literally say Lester Tellez, like, March 2019. Like, I was literally like 14, 13 years old. Like, at this point, I literally forgot that I said that. And to me, it was crazy that they had those screenshots ready after 4 years. After 4 years, they had those screenshots ready, and
so they're waiting for the moment.
They were waiting.
So now
they were waiting.
So now, kind of moving past, what did you learn from that being canceled?
For me,
a big lesson.
Well, the big lesson was, I guess it was just, don't ever, like, if you do something, right, you always have to do it with, this is just for me personally, to do it with God in mind. Not that I was doing like unethical stuff, like stealing people's work or whatever, but it's like, if there's a community that largely identifies with something that I don't agree with because of my beliefs, I shouldn't entertain it. And I've realized that my personality and a lot of these people's personalities just don't match. So at the end of the day, like, the Grizzlies 2 was supposed to be a thing. It's not going to be a thing anymore. I'm not working on Finance at Freddy's games anymore. I need to go to university. I need to do my own stuff. Like, and like, honestly, I'm not going to make a game for free for people that I would have made out of spite just to prove them wrong, when I can just go focus on other things and actually make a good life for myself. So, like, there was no point in that.
So actually, my next question, the follow-up question was, then what's next?
What's next? I'm going to be looking at some original projects. I had already started like an original game already. It had to do like something with like a detective.
So you're
mouse.
working on a game, low-key?
I'm working low-key, working on a game right now. When I get to the university, I'm going to be connecting with people there. So if anybody from UCF that's into video game design, if you see this clip or whatever, just hit me up on Instagram or Twitter or whatever.
I'm gonna tag all your things.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be looking for people there. Like, the first week, I'm going to downtown campus and I'm looking for people. So but really, I just feel like I came to terms with it. Like, I wasn't like, when it happened, I was like, damn, this is kind of scary. Like, 80,000 views on a tweet, 100,000 views on a tweet, that's pretty scary. Of me saying I'm a Christian because I don't agree with certain things and defending myself, and people were going nuts about it. Like, there's people on Twitter cheering about my downfall. Like, it's like ridiculous. But at the end of the day, just always do everything with God in mind. He always has a plan for you. You know, even though if you don't live a perfect life, you know, you repent, you do whatever you need to do, and you just follow his grace, and that's it.
And that's what you believe in. You believe that what you're doing, you're just standing firm in your faith.
Yeah, I was just standing firm in my beliefs. I'm not saying because I'm a Christian, like, I'm not saying since I'm a Christian, I have to believe these things. But since I am Christian, because of what the Bible teaches and stuff, I don't agree with certain things. And specifically, I believe it's somewhere in Genesis. I don't know the exact quote. I don't know if you could put it up here, the exact verse. But it says something about God created a man and a woman to reproduce with each other. and that's just
Yeah, and
that's what I
homosexuality isn't accepted in the.
that's
It's
yeah, and that's
spoken against
that's
in
what
the
I
Bible.
believe. And again,
Yeah.
I don't have. I feel like society today has lost grip of like what respect and support means. Like they're two different things. You can respect somebody and be nice to them, but not support what they're doing. But you won't tell them to their face like, "Oh, you're disgusting." Like
Yeah.
you don't do
Yeah,
that to
yeah.
people. You don't do that.
It's a
But
level of
at the
respect.
same time, yeah. But at the same time,
Yeah.
you don't have to be like, "Oh my God, guys! Like I'm gonna go to the Pride Parade." Like you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And actually, my I have a sibling who's in California who is a trans. Like she's transgender. Went from
Your
boy,
sister.
Yes.
So people who canceled you don't even understand the full story.
Well,
sister.
I had mentioned that in the post, and they used like he's trying to say like, oh, I have a black friend, so I'm not racist. Like they were comparing it to that.
Yeah.
And it's really funny for all you guys out there because believe it or not, I literally told her about this situation, and she was like, yeah, those people are idiots. Like, so it's like, you know.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Well, I don't fully understand, but I understand what you like.
Because there's a big difference between, because there's some people who are genuinely like, there's people who actually have gender dysphoria. It's not 20% of the population, but it's a minuscule percent of the population. My sibling, who boy or girl, was born premature. They've done blood work on her supposedly, according to my mom, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like, it's always been since young.
Yeah.
Me in the house, just me with boy toys, and she wanted to play with stuff. So it's not like she was a kid on the internet who didn't get any like pussy or whatever, like didn't get anything, and was just like, you know what, I'm gonna switch genders because I feel like it. Like that's not the story.
Yeah.
It's been since very, very young.
Yeah.
So even though like, you know, like some things I don't agree with, I'm not upset about it, and I will always love my family. I will always love my siblings.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna hold anything against anybody.
Yeah.
You know, that's not fair either.
Yeah. No, I understand completely.
So.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, what it is that you stand firm in your belief. Right. I mean, it'll be, it could be either way. Let's say you didn't stand firm, then people will call you hypocrite. Right. Or you stand firm, not so either way you can't satisfy. But if you yourself, I think you found that piece of like, okay, I stood firm in my faith. That at the end of the day,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. But I want to talk about now, right? You have guys like, just to name a few, right? 8-Bit Ryan, 3FS, Daco, Astro Spiff, list goes on, right? These are guys with like 400K subscribers to 4 million subscribers playing your game.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, how does that make you feel when you see them playing the game that you created?
Oh, it felt amazing. Like, because what happened was the game launched and some people signed up for early access. So like 5 minutes after the game, boom, like the video was already out. Like 8-Bit Ryan's was like the first one to come out. And like some people did reviews on the game and like they would just come out after hour after hour after hour. And there was a period of time for like 3 weeks, every day a new video on the game, like a new video. And I would go and like filter it and go to recent uploads so I could see every single video, regardless if they had 1 subscriber or like 4 million subscribers. I watched all of the videos. There's even one video that I found hilarious. The guy has like 500 subscribers, but he's so funny. He was screaming like at the top of his lungs. And in the game, the rabbits, like if you don't close the door on them, they come up to your door and they bite the lever off. So when he's turning, he's at the camera, he's like, Angel. And he looks at the door and he's like screaming his ass off. It was like really funny.
Yeah.
I found that hilarious.
That's funny.
But yeah, like it's like people were posting it on Twitter. Like they were clipping it. They clipped it and they like put it on Twitter.
Yeah. So
like,
did seeing those people, like all those people play, did it give you a sense of like, I made it?
Yeah,
or
like it's not like, oh, I 100% made it, but I'm getting somewhere and I enjoyed it. Like I would sit down with pizza and watch the video and like my family was there watching it and they like were super excited. Like when it first came out, like they were really happy about it.
Yeah.
But
and is there anything like specific that you took from that, from seeing people like a game that blew up and seeing people that have this large audience playing your game? Did that like shift your mindset in any way? Like it changed the way you thought about creating a game, your possibilities? It made you think bigger?
Well, I feel like right now it was really important for me to get that because since I was selling the game for free because it was a fan game, that really was the currency. Like that is like your profit, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Since you're selling something for free, the views and the amount of attention it gets kind of translates to its like economy. The whole FNAF game economy is really based on who plays your game.
Yeah.
So I feel like at this point, now that I got canceled, now that like a lot of people in the community don't like me, And again, it's really just the people on Twitter. Like, I go on
Yeah.
YouTube, no one's posted anything. No one, like, I've seen one comment on YouTube.
Yeah.
But, like, no one, like, 90% of them, like, don't care what Twitter has to say at the end of the day. They
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah.
But I feel like really it's just stay focused, you know, just go with your gut instinct, do what you think is right. Don't try to, like, hurt people or whatever. Like, now I'm going to stay very, like,
Now you understand your words have consequences.
yeah,
Now
of course.
but you still don't back down. But now
like,
you're
you
just
still don't back
more.
down. Like, you're more careful, but you're
Exactly.
not like, yeah, you're more careful, but you're not like, oh.
And you know what I think it is too? It's a mixture of like, now that the game blew up, that's when they're using the stuff against you.
No, of course.
Because they know now that you have when you have something that they could undermine you
And
with,
it's not even,
and you're out of.
you know, it's not just that. It's like everything in life has to have an opposite and equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, like, even let's say, like, I made the VR game, nothing went wrong. I made Grizzlies 2 and it became, like, super big. Eventually, something was going to happen down the road. I haven't been a perfect person. Like, I believe in karma. Like, I always know, and, like, karma, like, you don't pay for it.
You reap what you sow.
You reap what you sow, but you don't pay for it right then and there. Like, it could not just be like you do something and 6 months later it happens. It could be 5 years later down the road and you get it back to you. So
100%.
I feel like now I just try to live as best as I can. I just try to work on myself. I enjoy my time with my family, my friends. I just make the positive situation out of everything. So that way, later on, there's no more karma left to pay back.
Yeah.
But I feel like in general, life's been pretty good right now. I'm getting ready to go to university.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be looking at stuff.
Excited for that?
Yeah, I'm very excited for that. I want to look.
What excites you?
I feel like what excites me is the social opportunities, because even now, like, I've been very like into making the game, and that takes up a lot of time. Like, if you guys really want to commit to something like this, especially since I was kind of the underdog in the situation, because none of the people that I knew really wanted to, like, help me, like, get it there easier. Because some people there had really good connections that they could make one game and it would blow up because they knew the right people. But I had to
get it from the
trial over and over and over and over again for after 7 years. Like, it just, for me, I was definitely the underdog in the situation.
And speak a little bit about your work ethic. Like, how hard were you working to create that game? Because I think the message of this podcast is that the central core of the podcast is that through you consistently work, through the consistency of working, despite the adversity, you can reach that leadership position. You can reach that greatness position. And it seems clearly that you had, like you said, 7 years of, like, didn't have a game, you didn't have this, but you kept going. So speak about how hard did you actually work to create
How
a game?
hard that actually worked, to be honest, in the beginning was a lot more, because especially in 2021 when I was really making everything, because that was the first game that I genuinely made everything by myself. Like, not everything by myself, but like when it comes to the 3D modeling, I made the characters, I made a lot of the rooms for the game, I did some extra stuff. So it was a lot of tedious work in the beginning. But with Grizzlies VR, like, I felt bad, because I feel like it was a lot more me telling people what to do, like working with them creatively. And I'm like, damn, I really haven't done anything. But technically, they're using my models for the game, like the characters in the room. So technically, my work was done. It had just been done before. So it's like, if you want to get into anything, you have to have at least max out, or not even max out, just like get good at one skill. If you can get decent at one skill, you'll be okay. You don't have to, you can be well-rounded, but you don't have to max out every single aspect of everything in order to become successful.
Yeah, 100%,
like
I agree with that.
It's like online, like these people like who do podcasts, is that they get clips and they say one thing and they blow up. Like, and that's like, you could not even be the best speaker, the best whatever, but like sometimes it just happens.
Opportunity,
right? Sometimes it just happens, you know.
And I want to go back to the fact that you said, to end it off, you said the guts. You mentioned guts, and it's funny that you say that, because I had a thing, Game Jolts, right? You wrote a mature paragraph that I thought was mature. I read through it, detailed. I thought it was sincere. I thought it came from a place of, like, understanding, and the comments are still backlash, but whatever, regardless, right?
Regardless.
But I thought it was mature, and you said that you're moving past a cancellation. And your last words, distinctive last words that people used against you at the end was, let me quote, "It takes guts to have a good ending." That's what you said, right?
Right, because "it takes guts" is like the main catchphrase of the whole game that I kind of just made up on a whim. Like I was making one of the videos for it, and I was like, "Oh, this sounds cool," and it became like the tagline. Like if you look at the titles of some of the clips and like all the comments, like that's everybody would type that.
And that was you that said that. It takes guts.
Yeah, like it was me. Like I made that.
What was the
photo.
voice? Like how?
Oh no, it's not like a voice. Like it's just the quote itself.
Oh, the main
The
quote
actual
of
quote
the game.
is famous. Like not famous, but like
Yeah,
in
it's
the,
known.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's known. Yeah.
That's funny. So
Like
what?
pretty
so
much everybody in the FNAF community like knows what that. Even if they don't know what Grizzlies is, they probably know what it takes.
So what does that
guts is.
mean? What is that? It takes
It's more
guts.
like in
To
the
you.
story. This is the like lore bit that people could know. So it's kind of was revealed in Grizzlies VR, but basically the main character John owns Grizzlies. Like he owns the restaurant, and then he's building these characters and they're really advanced AI. And one night, a homeless man tries to break into the thing, and it's like the bear tells him like it takes guts like to defend yourself. Not exactly those words, but like
Oh, right,
he's
yeah.
basically like he's at the door trying to block him, and he has a knife in his hand, and then
Yeah.
he turns around, the bear is there standing. In the
Yeah.
bear's mind, he's like obsessed with his creator. It's kind of like a kid. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of how I made it out to be. When you actually watch the videos and you see the game, it's played out really well. Like people complimented that it actually was pretty convincing, and a lot of people thought it was a really big upgrade from the original.
Yeah.
Like the Grizzlies 1 in the VR, the VR is basically just a better version of the first game. Like it's a more explored version of the original game. But
Yeah.
anyways, the John character is like, I can't do this, and he's like, yes you can, you have the guts, John. That's what he says to him. So that's
that.
the meaning. That was the meaning of the quote ever since 2021. That was the meaning, and it kind of just took off.
And I find it ironic how that was your last words.
Yeah, that's
technically
my-
that's
yeah.
your goodbye.
To them
That was
at
your
least,
goodbye
yeah.
at least.
To
Yeah.
the FNAF community, like making games
Yeah.
for them, yeah.
So you're done with that community.
Well,
FNAF.
like, yeah, I'm done. I'm gonna watch the movie that's coming out in
There's a
October.
movie?
There's a
Five Nights
Five
at Freddy
like,
movie
the
coming out?
creator, The creator of the game went on set, and it looks amazing. I'll show you after the podcast.
Yeah,
but
I gotta. Yeah, for sure. I gotta see that.
It looks incredible. It looks super
100%.
good. Yeah.
But I think this interview was definitely. There's always gonna be people that backlash and always has something else to say, but I think you made your piece.
Right, yeah.
The conclusion that I'm getting from it, I hope the audience is getting from that, you made your piece, but through all of it, you just learned lessons.
Right.
Like you're 18.
Yeah.
You're 18, bro. Like you can't get. You're learning lessons. Like nobody's gonna have it all figured out at 18. But regardless, you still have done the things that you've done at 18.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there should be no like, oh, I took losses because I got canceled and I have to take down my game. No, it's just a lesson learned.
Yeah.
And that's where I see your whole story and how hard you work, which I don't think you perfectly described it, but I'm very sure you worked very hard at that game, like extremely hard. Like how you said, you have to sacrifice certain things.
Yeah, it was sacrificing a lot of time, you know, and like towards the end with the VR game, I actually didn't spend too much time because at one
They
point it was
delegated
just,
stuff.
yeah, it's delegated stuff, and then I would check in and whatever
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like it literally got down to a point where I even had a person who would like hire the voice actors for me and would record the audio sessions for me. Like I would join and they would be like, oh, Lester, we're gonna record this and this and this today. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll be back. And then they do it and they're like, oh, we did X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Like listen to it, let us know. And I would be like, oh, this is good. I want it to kind of sound like this and whatever. But the director was really good and the voice acting came out phenomenal in the game.
Yeah.
Now, again, I had a team comprised of Grizzlies VR and 2. I had approximately 40 people and now there's like 12.
No,
So,
but it'll come back. It'll
yeah.
come back.
Yeah, well, yeah. We'll build back.
So
Yeah.
just to end, to final cherry on top.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now you're in an interesting, because for those of you that made it to the end, you very well could be the next big game creator, bigger than Five Nights at Freddy creator, bigger than E-Games. Like you very well could be that because of what you've done at such a young age. Like you have it, you have the setup already, you have the base. You've seen that something that you created can go viral, right? But what do you want your remembrance to be? In one sentence, what do you want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered for the fun experiences that I make from video games and the positive impact that I leave on the world. That's what I want to be remembered for.
Very simply
Not,
that.
yeah. Not just for video games, but like I want to get into other stuff too. Like in UCF, I was thinking of maybe running student government body,
Yeah.
doing things, looking into real estate.
Yeah.
Like
Being
I just
involved,
want to
yeah.
leave live positive impact. I really like politics. Like, I don't know, maybe at some point in the future I'll run for something, who knows, but
Bring it
I
back up
feel
that
like,
you the Grizzly VR.
yeah, but I feel
But
like like, no matter what I do, I just want to leave a positive impact on everything. Even if it's a game and a kid's like, man, this was the best game I ever played, like, that's it.
yeah,
Or even
I
like,
like that.
if I ever become something politics wise,
No,
I
one.
left a good community, like, I left a good impact on the community that I served,
Yeah.
regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
Like, just want to leave a good impact for
Yeah.
everybody.
So I definitely think that was a good way to end it. It's very simply put it how you want to be remembered, and it will come. Not like what if it will come when it comes. But I learned a lot. I learned the things that you had to overcome. You're making your story right now. Like whether you see it or not, like you're making your story. Having to 7 years, 30 games just to get one. Like that's not a good ratio. That's like the odds are stacked against you, but you still overcame that.
Yeah, and I did.
And then being canceled, then still like moving forward. A lot of people get canceled. That's my life, bro. Like,
No, I'm not doing
but you're still going forward.
Yeah.
Standing firm in your belief. All these things, and that's part of your story. And I find it interesting. I definitely think there's going to be an interview, and your story is going to be something that's going to age very well with your success. So I hope you guys made it to the end. And if you guys did, feel free to check out any of the clips. I'm going to make short clips from this interview, clips that go on YouTube, clips that go on Instagram, YouTube Shorts, everything. But thank you guys so much if you made it to the end. If I truly learned something, I hope you guys did. And whatever you took from it, make sure to comment down below what you took from it, your opinion, your thoughts, your controversy, whatever it is. Type it down below. But anything else you want to leave off on?
Well, for the audience out there, I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. Just take what I said, advice-wise, just stay consistent with what you do. Don't make stupid mistakes. Be patient. Be respectful to everybody. Just stand firm in your beliefs. As long as you do that, you'll be okay. And as long as you remain consistent in something, eventually you're gonna get some reward. There's never somebody that's never really tried 100% and not gotten it.
I like that.
So,
yeah, agree with that. But thank you guys so much for making it to the end, and I'll see you guys on the next one.